أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. Today we will be studying Surah 51 AdDhariyaat, meaning the scattering winds. Our scheme of study is as follows: Surah's introduction, how it was named, connection between the beginning and the ending of the surah, and connection of the surah to the surah before and after it. Let us start our study of the surah now. Introduction. The surah stands at serial number 51 in the compilation of Holy Quran, and there are 60 ayat or verses. The surah gives the good news of the emergence of a new community. It also warns the opponents of the truth that their time is about to end and the judgment of Allah is near. Falsehood is about to end. The righteous shall be rewarded. The character of the righteous people has been enumerated. Prophet Ibrahim alayhis salam and his angels visitors are mentioned. The fate of the people of Prophet Lut alayhis salam, Prophet Moses alayhis salam, and the fate of people of Ad and Samud, and the people of Prophet Nuh, peace be upon them all, have been discussed. How the surah was named. The surah takes its name from the first ayat, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والذاريات ذروا, by those winds scattering dust, dispersing, which implies that it is a surah which begins with the word Adh-Dhariyat, connection between the beginning and the ending of the surah. What has been promised? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنما توعدون لصادق. Indeed, what you are promised is true. فويل للذين كفروا من يومهم الذي يوعدون. And woe to those who have disbelieved from their day which they are promised. This is the last ayat of the surah. Connection of the surah to the surah before or after it. Surah Al-Zariyat and Surah At-Tur have ayat towards the end that speaks about the Zalimin. فَإِنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا ذُنُوبًا مِثْلَ ذُنُوبِ أَصْحَابِهِمْ فَلَا يَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. And indeed, for those who have wronged is a portion of punishment like the portion of their predecessors, so let them not impatiently urge me. Then it is mentioned, وَإِنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا عَذَابًا دُونَ ذَلِكَ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. And indeed, for those who have wronged is the punishment before that, but most of them do not know. Surah Al-Zariyat and Surah At-Tur instruct the Holy Prophet ﷺ to turn away. فَتَوَلَّ عَنْهُمْ فَمَا أَنْتَ بِمَلُومٍ وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So leave them, O Muhammad sallallahu for you are not to be blamed, and remind, for indeed the reminder benefits the believer. فَذَرْهُمْ حَتَّى يُلَاقُوا يَوْمَهُمُ الَّذِي فِيهِ يُصْعَقُونَ. So leave them until they meet their day in which they will be struck insensible. Dear viewers, we will discuss period of revelation, topics and themes discussed in the surah, and lessons, major issues, and reflection of the surah at the end. Let us start with period of revelation. The subject matter and the style clearly shows that it was sent down in the period when, although the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's invitation was being resisted and opposed with denial and ridicule and false accusations stubbornly, persecution had not yet started. Therefore, this surah also seems to have been revealed in the same period in which the surah Qaf was revealed. Subject matter and topics. The surah mostly deals with the hereafter, and in the end it presents the invitation to Tawheed. In addition, the people have also been warned that refusal to accept the message of the prophets and persistence in the concept and creeds of ignorance have proved to be disastrous for those nations themselves which have adopted this attitude and way of life in the past. About the hereafter, what this surah presents is short but pithy sentences is this: the people's different and conflicting beliefs about the end of human life are themselves an express proof that none of these beliefs and creeds is based on knowledge. Everyone by himself has formed an ideology on the basis of conjecture and made the same his creed. Someone thought that there would be no life after death. Someone believed in the life after death, but in the form of the transmigration of souls. Someone believed in the life hereafter and the meting out of the rewards and punishment, but invented different sorts of props and supports to escape retribution. About a question of such vital and fundamental importance, a wrong view of which renders man's whole life work wrong and waste and ruin his future forever. It would be a disastrous folly to build an ideology on the basis of speculation and conjecture without knowledge. It would mean that man should remain involved in a grave misunderstanding, pass his whole life in the heedlessness of error, and after death should suddenly meet with a situation for which he had made no preparation at all. There is only one way of forming the right opinion about such a question, and it is this: man should seriously ponder over the knowledge about the hereafter that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is conveying to him from him. Allah, and should study carefully the system of the earth and heavens and his own existence, and should see whether the evidence of that knowledge being sound and correct is afforded by everything around him or not. In this regard, the arrangement of the wind and the rain, the structure of the earth and the creatures found on it, man's own self, the creation of the heavens and of everything in the world in the form of pairs have been presented as evidence of the hereafter, and instances have been cited from human history to show that the temper of the empire of the universe requires that the law of retribution must operate here. After this giving the invitation to Tawheed briefly, it has been said, your Creator has not created you for the service of other, but for His Allah's own service. He is not like your false God, which receive sustenance from you, and Godhead of which cannot function without your help. But He is a God who is the sustainer of all, who does not stand in the need of sustenance from anyone, and whose Godhead is functioning by his own power and might. In this very connection, it has also been stated that whenever the prophets of Allah have been opposed and resisted, they have not been opposed and resisted on the basis of any rational ground, but on the basis of the same obduracy and stubbornness and false pride that is being shown against the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is no other motive for it than rebellion and arrogance. Then The Holy Prophet ﷺ has been instructed not to bother about the rebels, but to go on performing his mission of invitation and admonition, for it is useful and beneficial for the believers, although it may not be so for the other people. As for the wicked peoples who still persist in their rebellion, they should know that their predecessors who followed the same way of life have already received their shares of the punishment, and these people's share of the punishment has been made ready for them. Lesson, guidance, major issues, and reflection in the surah. Surely the day of judgment shall come to pass, only the perverse person turn away from this truth. The same angels who gave good news of having a son to Ibrahim alayhis salam annihilated the nation of homosexuals. There is a lesson in the stories of Forohas, Ad, Samud, and people of Nuh alayhi salatu wassalam. Hasten to Allah. Do not associate anyone in the divinity of Allah. Remind, as the reminding will help the believers. The judgment of Allah is near. Alhamdulillah, we have completed the study of the surah. May Allah bless us right knowledge of the teachings of Quran and to implement it in our life. Jazakallah khair.